Ranked Gophers take to the mat, led by two defending national champions, Konrad and Dustin Schlatter. Jay Robinson's wrestlers look to knock off the #1 ranked Cowboys. It's all next on FSN North. From the pavilion on the campus of the University of Minnesota, it is the third-ranked Golden Gophers playing host to #1 Oklahoma State. And as we look at those national rankings, you can see Oklahoma State sits on top. Minnesota was there a little bit earlier in the year.
Minnesota started the year ranked #1 in the country, went out in their first dual meet of the year, and get beat by #5 ranked Hofstra. The rankings people in the nation said, okay, we're not ready to give Hofstra #1. Let's go back to the four-time national champions, Oklahoma State.
That is, in fact, where Oklahoma State lands. Now, when you look at this matchup, the problem is the home team never seems to win. What's going on here?
A lot of times the wrestlers come out when they're at home. They're really excited to have a great performance in front of their home crowd. And sometimes they get nervous and they play, and maybe they don't perform at their highest level. The away team comes in, there's no pressure, they come in loose, and they win matches.
Jay Robinson, head coach at the University of Minnesota, of course, his 21st year here. He's from Oklahoma State. He knows what it takes in a big rivalry.
Every time we come back to wrestle Oklahoma State, there's a lot of emotion, and you have to be up for this match. And someone told me last night that since '99, out of 13 times we've wrestled, we beat them, Oklahoma State has only lost 13 times in the last 7 years. We beat them 7 of those times. So there's a lot of raw emotion here. So both teams want to win. Both teams are usually at the top, and usually this decides a lot during the year.
And we shall see if it decides it once again tonight. Now, the other thing that's going to decide it tonight, that 174-pound category, Will, this is maybe the determining factor in who walks away with this match.
Mason and Dretsch is going to be a great match. They've wrestled 4 times in the past, 3 times last year. Mason won 2 out of the 3 last year. They've gone already once this year at the Omaha Open. Dretsch won that match early. It can go either way. Both guys ready to go, and it will be a pivotal match tonight.
It is the Cowboys of Oklahoma State and the Golden Gophers of the University of Minnesota. We'll have it for you right here on FSN North right after this. Time out. Back here at the pavilion on the campus of the University of Minnesota. #1 Oklahoma State, #3 Minnesota. There's a good look at Oklahoma State head coach John Smith as he gets the Cowboys ready to go in front of a full house here. Jay Robinson, 21st year at the U. My partner here wrestled for Jay Robinson. He has got his hands full tonight against this #1 club.
Oklahoma State just keeps, you know, I was talking to Coach Smith earlier, and he said, you know, if we weren't the 4-time returning national champions, we might call this a rebuilding year, but here we are ranked #1. Now you got Tyler Shinn coming out against Jayson Ness, who's worked his way into the rankings at 125. He's now currently ranked #9 in the country, and he's just a freshman this year. So we got a great match to start us off in this dual meet.
Oklahoma State, as you see, leads the all-time series, but the Gophers have had the better of it lately.
The Gophers have always had good depth in their dual meet squads, and Oklahoma State's got what we call a powerhouse, high-scoring team for the NCAAs, but not always the best dual meet team out there. And that's why the Gophers have taken some matches from them in dual meet.
Ness, of course, in the maroon, and Shinn in the orange. Now, officially, they have never met. And that's according to the media notes, but officially is not official, is it?
These two young men wrestled in the 20 and under division at the Omaha, Nebraska Open last year, and Shinn won that match. Now, both these guys moved up to the varsity spots this year. They're both at the Omaha Open. Ness wins the tournament, and Shinn takes 5th, but they actually never wrestled in that tournament. So right now, they have wrestled once, and Shinn leads in the series.
19-4 was Jayson Ness's overall record as a redshirt back in the 2005-2006 season. He's 11-2 thus far this year overall, and 4-1 in dual meets.
Jayson comes into the season with high expectations for himself and from the coaches. I mean, Jayson's a former 2-time state champion, Bloomington, Kennedy, Minnesota. And here's Jayson in on a single. Hasn't secured the takedown yet. As long as this wizard position still in As long as Oklahoma State can control Ness's arm, there will be no points scored here. He's got to secure the waist. You see Ness trying to get his hand back out so he gets out of what we call wizard position. No points yet. Still no control. Fisher gives an early 2 to Oklahoma State. I'm not sure who he gave takedown to. Now he's giving 2 to Ness. Originally signaled Oklahoma State in the red.
I thought it was either, I thought he had a reversal or an escape of it. He gave it to the middle.
Starts off, he put 2 up for Oklahoma State. And yes, he did give the Oklahoma State the takedown. Now they're going to clarify. Both officials are working together here.
Now, they did give it to, he certainly gave it to Tyler Shinn.
With Oklahoma State, they call this control for some wrestler, but as of right now, I don't know how you could tell that either wrestler was under control here. That's a tough call for Jayson Ness. I think neither coach is real happy with that call at this point.
And now the officials are coming over to the scorer's table to try and sort this thing out. John Smith hustled over there as well.
Well, controversy early at a big match like this is always not good for a crowd like this at the University of Minnesota. Here's what's happened. They're not sure who he gave the takedown to, and now, yes, he is going to go with Oklahoma State. It really was a neutral position. Probably shouldn't have been any points awarded. He made a decision to go with Oklahoma State, and now he's got to stick with his call. And it's just a tough call for Jayson Ness, who now starts the match 2-0. And Oklahoma State will start accumulating riding time.
Boy, and less than about a minute into the match or so when that happened.
Tyler Shinn using a leg ride here. A cross-body leg ride, working on Ness's arm. Ness has got to clear his arms first before he can work on the leg attack. Shinn riding high with his legs. Until he gets that arm down, you can see Jayson trying to get his arm out in front of him again, and that's when he can start to maybe get an escape. As of right now, he can't do anything. Now his arm's coming forward. Now he can maybe go to work, although he's still getting his arms trapped under there. Shinn doing a very good job working on his wrist.
Ness has won his last 4 matches, losing as many of his teammates did at Hofstra.
Ness, if you look, he's trying to control that top leg of Shinn. Trying to keep that top leg on. No points scored. Ness will go back down into a down position here. There's just 17 seconds left in the first period, but Oklahoma State has now accumulated riding time. Of course, if a wrestler from either team has 1 minute of riding time advantage at the end of the match, they'll be awarded a point in the match. Right now, Oklahoma State has 1:15, so if that isn't erased by Ness, by the end of the match, Shinn will be awarded at the end of the match.
And how does he erase that? But just reversing it.
Ness will be in the top position later in the match.
Okay.
And when he's in the top position, the seconds will count backwards. Ness got Shinn in trouble. He's going to fall right here. Time's out. Shinn dodges a bullet.
Boy,
he was in
by the
big
bell.
trouble. The Gophers asking. You see Jayson Ness, he grabs Shinn's head right here. He'll reach up, grab his head, and when he does, he pulls him over. And if you watch Shinn's shoulders here, you watch his shoulders right here. If he could get them to pin down, that would have been a fall right there. But Ness runs out of time, and once again, the official says, hey, you know what? No points.
So Jayson Ness, despite having a fairly decent first period, finds himself down 2-0.
2-0.
And as you already mentioned, now the riding time is $1:35, so he's got himself a big hole here already.
I think they'll try and get Jayson to erase the 35-second riding time. That's the first thing they have to do here. And then it'll be interesting if they allow him to keep him down. Jayson is an extremely good rider. He rides a high half series, and he's very dangerous on top. He's pinned a lot of guys in high school, and is carrying out into college. He rides very heavy, and it's hard on his opponent because they constantly are wearing on that top hand. See Jayson running that high half again, keeping pressure on his opponent.
Well, you were correct about one thing. He has got the riding time down under a minute now. And that's exactly what he's doing. Trying to neutralize that.
He's under a minute now, and now Shinn has been warned for stalling. Now, if he gets warned again for stalling, Ness would be given a point. A stalling call in wrestling means the wrestler's not doing anything to score, he's just avoiding being scored, and that's called stalling in wrestling. Shinn's been warned now one time. And now, Ness lets him go. 50 seconds here in the second period, down 3-0. Ness is going to need a score in this period to get himself back in the match. Ness working at a high pace. There's a shot, a single leg, trying to run him over. No points yet. Shinn again with the squizzer position. He's got to keep his feet on inbound. There's a two-pointer for Ness.
Just barely keeping his feet in. So Ness is back in the match. Oh, by the way, the riding time down to 29 seconds.
Ness just putting a ton of pressure. Here's that whizzer again that Shinn was using to keep him off. And if you see Ness's toes right there, they stay in bounds. Because they stay in bounds, and he's awarded control and 2 points.
So any part of his foot is in bounds, that counts as being in bounds.
That's a takedown.
Wait, he had him in trouble, too.
Important situation here. Ness wants to keep him down in this situation. He wants to break the riding time, and he doesn't want to give a point here at the end of the match. Or at the end of this second period, excuse me. Ness is going to have choice of position in the third period, and most likely will go down and escape will tie the match. Now, Ness may not. Now we've got a warning for stalling again on Oklahoma State. John Smith is up on the mat. He's very upset about the stalling call right now. He wants to talk to the officials. He's coming over. Match is tied 3-3. You see John now on the mat. He's got to be careful. Coach Smith's got to be careful here. He could get a penalty point here in this match.
He is pacing like Bobby Knight minus the chair right now.
Extremely upset, saying that what is his wrestler supposed to do? He's got a wrist right, and there, now he's given a bench warning. John is all over the mat right now.
He spent almost as much time on the mat as his wrestler.
Typically, some coaches, if they come out on the mat like that, they get tossed from the match. But you just don't toss John Smith at this point. He's won 4 national titles in a row.
The flip side of that, of course, Jay Robinson sitting astutely on his chair and has not left it. You ever see Jay Rob do that type of thing?
I think Jay's very confident in the fact that Ness has got more conditioning in this match, and I think he thinks he's going to come back in this situation.
Well, it's even at 3. A 3-second advantage now, riding time for Ness.
Shot for Ness. Shinn tries to spin, but he's in trouble. Ness has got a secure leg here now. No points yet. No points yet. Still basically no control. Although this could be considered control. Some officials may give control here. Ness got a secure leg. The crowd wants 2 points. Ness, if he could get his hand back across Shinn's face, he might get 2.
There it is.
Now he's got 2.
Exactly what you said. Brought that hand right back across.
Now he leads 5-3, and he's working on riding time now. Here's that high half series, high spiral right series that Jayson is just awesome with. He puts tons of pressures on his opponents. It's wearing and wearing the constant high half series on the neck of his opponent.
Now how much is this
down again on the mat, the half running, trying to run him over. He's got him in trouble here. He's got him going. He's got Shinn in all kinds of trouble. He could take him over here at the end of the period. The constant pressure of Jayson Ness.
The countdown is on. And the full house here at the pavilion appreciates the effort of Jayson Ness. They are on their feet.
Former Minnesota standout Jayson Ness. Great performance to get the Gophers going tonight.
Jayson Ness, a spectacular comeback victory to open things up for the University of Minnesota.
Jayson Ness.
Here's Ness. Now this hand has got to get across his face for it to consider to be 2 points. And once it gets there, now he's considered in a dangerous position, and he scores the takedown.
And that was the difference in the match. It was 3-3 at that point. And Jayson Ness rides out the storm, so to speak, trailing 3-0 early, comes back to win 5-3. So we move to the 130 division, and it's Mike Thorn and Coleman Scott. Coleman Scott ranked number 4 in the nation, 5-1 on the year. Thorn, the freshman from St. Michael, 9-4 on the season, 2-3 in dual meets.
Another Minnesota standout, former state champion from St. Michael, Albertville, Mike Thorn. Minnesota, the state of Minnesota has 5 starters tonight from the state of Minnesota, so that's a good thing for the high school programs in the state of Minnesota to see some of these kids go on to one of the best programs in the country, the University of Minnesota.
Of course, Thorn starting as a true freshman. Now, other than Dustin Schlatter last year, not many guys do that for J-Rob, do they?
Very few are ready out of high school to come out and wrestle at the Division I level. Mike had an opportunity here because Mac Ryder is injured with an ACL tear, and they expect Mac Ryder to be back in February and possibly be able to wrestle at the Big Ten Nationals. They needed somebody to step up and wrestle this year at this weight class, and Mike Thorn, some guys may say, hey, you know what, I want a red shirt, I don't want to wrestle. Mike Thorn stepped right up, says, I want to be the guy, I want to get out there and get my feet wet right away. And here he is now wrestling, you know, Coleman Scott, one of the best wrestlers in the country from Oklahoma State, getting some experience and seeing what he can do with the best guys in the country.
Scott, as I mentioned, 5-1 coming into this match.
As of right now, not a lot of action, no chances taken so far here in the first minute of the match. Both guys trying to feel each other out. Coleman is really a tough wrestler. He scrambles very well. He's a good pinner for Oklahoma State. All-American, he's a 2-time All-American at the 125-pound weight class, but is moving up this year to 133. Coleman has never redshirted as well. This is the guy who came right out of high school and wrestled for the Cowboys, and now in his 3rd year on varsity.
Coleman, a junior from Waynesburg, Pennsylvania. Thorn has lost 2 of his last 3 matches, although he did win most recently back on December 1st against Northern Colorado. So something to build on for him. But as you said, true freshman, just kind of getting his feet wet and says, hey, let's go for it.
When you talk to the Gopher staff about Mike Thorn, they all talk about how hard he wrestles, how he continues to push and push and push and try and wrestle at a high pace. That's a hard thing for freshmen to learn when they come out. So they feel like they've got one thing for Mike already that he can do. Wrestle at a high pace, try and wear his opponents down a little bit. They want him to key in on building some more offense and some more leg attacks so that he can score. But they're really high on Mike right now, and they think he's doing a great job. And they're really excited about his last performance where he had to come back and got the win for the Gophers.
When you're going against a guy that is as highly ranked as Coleman Scott is, and you are a true freshman, what kind of thoughts go through your head as you go out there? I mean, is this his Super Bowl, so to speak, to go against a guy like this? Tonight,
Mike is thinking this is a heck of an opportunity for me to do something in front of the fans here at the University of Minnesota. You know, these are all high-level wrestlers. These are top-notch wrestlers who are capable of great performances. Both wrestlers have now been stalled, been warned once for stalling, and now warned again. So now you're going to see the score go up 1-1. It's really, it could play a factor later on in the match if somebody's not working. Here's Coleman Scott on a nice shot. Thorn tries to counter with the switch, no points. Thorn, good action. Coleman Scott had already thought he had the takedown, but Thorn says, no, not quite yet. Hits a little switch as he tries to come around. Coleman Scott hits what we call a high crotch in wrestling. Looks like he's got the takedown, but Thorn just switches his hips, keeps moving, keeps wrestling, gets off the mat, no points.
Boy, Thorn's quickness there really showing through in his ability to avoid getting scored upon.
That would have been a big takedown. If you ever watch a lot of college wrestling, you find that the good wrestlers score at the end of periods, and they are devastating points in a match. And Thorn avoiding that takedown right there has kept him alive in this match, and now still in a situation where he could get an upset.
Why is that? Why is it the end? Why is the end of the period so crucial?
Good wrestlers tend to know if I get a takedown with 10 seconds to go, my opponent has no chance to get an escape. So not only did I get 2, but there's no way that he can even get 1 back. Division I wrestlers are very proficient at getting away. And typically, a lot of them can get away within 13 seconds, like Coleman Scott did just right there.
So you've got one eye on the scoreboard or on the clock, or is it a built-in thing in your head? You wrestle so much that you know how many seconds are left in the period.
I think as they progress in their college careers, I think they get an idea of when the clock is running down and when there's short time in the clock, and knowing, hey, this is a good time to get a score.
So Mike Thorn. Now these two had never met before. Now they have never met in any other kind of situation. So this is a first meeting between these two.
First meeting for both of these wrestlers. And right now I'm really happy with, I think the Gophers are really happy with Thorn's position in this match. He's kept great head position. He's controlling the ties right now on Coleman Scott. And I'll be honest with you, Coleman Scott is not getting a lot of movement from Thorn, and that's not opening anything up for him to take any shots. I would say Mike Thorn right now, if he doesn't get some action on a leg attack, he could get one for stalling here. Coleman Scott again on that same side, and they're going to score 2 points. That's a tough call on Thorn there. Maybe not quite a sure takedown, but very, very quick duck under by Coleman Scott.
Now the fans don't like it. Some cat calls from the audience.
Scott runs around him, keeps his feet in bounds here, and just secured him enough. Official thought he had 2.
Winding down the second period.
This is Coleman Scott's strength. He's very tough on top. He's a pinner. He's pinned a lot of guys with his leg ride. You can see him using his leg ride right now. And it's not a good position for Mike Thorn right now. He doesn't want to be flattened out on his belly. He wants to hold his base. Now he's in trouble. Coleman Scott's got a hard high half. You can see his shoulder getting wrenched. He's in trouble here. Thorn in a lot of trouble here. And now giving up back points.
Five seconds to go.
Coleman Scott showing why he's ranked number 4 in the country. A top high half ride with the legs. Getting Thorn in trouble.
Well, Thorn basically trying to run out the clock there.
Spillane Montage, Spa, Salon, Gift Cards. Edina, Woodbury, and Chanhassen, or online at spillane.com.
These are the ones Minnesota is favored to win. These are the ones that Oklahoma State is favored to win. This certainly wasn't one that Minnesota was favored to win. They had hoped maybe to pull off a surprise, but there certainly is not. That's not going to be the case here, as Coleman has dominated this match, particularly since the middle of that first period.
Coleman now is starting to run away with this match. 47 seconds to go here in the third period. Just to let you know, he does have a minute 15 of riding time, as you can see there in the clock, which if this match were to end with him having more than a minute, he'll get an additional point. Now this is a factor in this match now, because Coleman's actually up 8-1. With an additional point, it'll be 9-1, and this would be considered kind of a major decision, and Oklahoma State's team points would go from 3 to 4, and Oklahoma State would take the lead in the duel 4 to 3. So Coleman Scott in position right now to get a major decision for the Cowboys. And here he is back on that leg ride again.
And of course, everybody knows that too. Both coaches know exactly what you're talking about here, and the riding time is going up. So it looks like this could work in favor of Oklahoma State on 2 fronts.
Anytime you're in a close dual meet, bonus points tend to be the factor in who wins the match. And anytime you're getting bonus points, you're just helping your team. And 21 seconds here, Thorn's got to have an opportunity. And now, Thorn getting warned again, really going to secure the major decision. Another stalling call. And you can see Thorn, look at that arm, look at that, getting wrenched under there. That's no fun. Coleman Scott dominates at 133 pounds, ranked number 4 in the country.
And Coleman Scott pushed Mike Thorn's head into the mat afterwards, kind of a little rubbing his nose in it. All right, we will have more from the pavilion on the campus of the University of Minnesota, Oklahoma State, and Minnesota back on FSN North right after this timeout. Well, we move now to the 141-pound category. You see Jay Robinson, of course, going against his alma mater. We talked about that a little earlier. Manny Rivera Ethan Kyle. Now, Ethan Kyle, a late substitute in this, although, as you can see by his record, 7-2, not such a bad guy to stick in there in a pinch.
Actually, he's a fifth-year senior. Coach Smith talked about him earlier tonight, and he said, you know, Ethan's a guy who's been in the room. He's been a big part of our program, been a big part of winning the national titles at Oklahoma State. And they don't look at this match as, okay, we're in big trouble here. They think Ethan's going to go out and show well. And maybe he doesn't get the win, but they certainly feel like he can go out there and perform well for the Cowboys.
Manny Rivera, oh, by the way, ranked number 5 in the nation. 13-0 overall, 5-0 in dual meets. The junior from El Monte, California, 54-27 in his career.
Talking to Marty Morgan, the assistant coach of the University of Minnesota, before the match, he's so excited about Manny Rivera and the pace that he is setting for himself in these matches, wrestling at such an up-tempo, forcing action, forcing his opponents to wrestle at his pace. And that's part of the reason why he's turned around already a couple matches on guys this year and built his ranking up to number 5. Ethan Kyle doing a good job here controlling Manny's hands so that he can't do a leg attack. You see the 2-on-1 wrist drive, or 2-on-1 wrist control here from Ethan. Manny still yet to get a leg attack going here on Kyle. Both teams tonight have 2 starters out. Of course, Minnesota has Matt Ryder out. And later on, you'll see that C.P. Schlatter is not running. So, ooh, Manny tries to duck under. Good counter by Ethan Kyle there. And Oklahoma State has their 141-pounder out and their 149-pounder out, which we'll talk about later. But, I mean, both teams missing 2 of their starters, so it makes it even. You know, you figure out we're missing 2, you're missing 2, so let's go wrestle.
Well, and that's where the depth comes into play. And right now, Ethan Kyle holding the fort against Manny Rivera. Manny last year, 28-15 on the season. Finished 5th in the Big Ten.
Ethan Kyle's doing a good job on Manny's wrist. Using a 2-on-1 to slow Manny down so he can't take any legged shots. Manny's doing a good job of trying to get Kyle out of position. Wear on his head. Ethan doing a good job just controlling the situation. Hasn't taken many risks. But certainly keeping himself in the match. And that's what you got to do against a higher ranked opponent. Stay in the match, give yourself an opportunity to win late.
Manny, of course, a California boy, to come up here to the cold north, kind of get used to the weather, get used to everything else.
Little outside fireman's, little sweep single outside fireman's for Manny Rivera, and he gets his first points of the match. He leads 2-0. And there we go. Clock ticking, back of his mind, 30 seconds to go. Scores a takedown. Gets 2, but here's Ethan Kyle getting a reverse, possible reversal. No points yet. He's got to secure Manny's far ankle or he won't score any points.
Manny certainly knows that.
Interesting situation right here. Manny's still in control in this situation, still considered in the top position. Kish is going to award a neutral position.
After 1 period, Minnesota leads.
So the University of Minnesota comes into this match with 4 of their wrestlers still unbeaten, and you can see the stats there. It's very impressive.
Yeah, Manny, I think the one that's most surprising for them right now is Manny. Obviously, Schlatter's a returning national champion, so is Konrad. Roger Kish is a returning runner-up. You expect those guys to start out maybe go undefeated. But here's a guy who, you know, Manny's coming right off the shoot. Lost a lot of matches this year, undefeated this year. Last year, of course, he's made major improvements. Ethan Kyle's doing a good job with wrist control on the bottom and worked his way out, up and out again. And he's tied the match 2-2.
It's 1 point Oklahoma State.
The riding time in favor of Minnesota at this point at 46 seconds for Manny.
Manny right now wants to stop being held up. He doesn't want to get into this wrist tie game that Ethan wants to play and keep the match close. He needs to get on an attack and attack this guy so that he can score and start to separate himself on the scoreboard. Kyle doing a good job controlling position and tying up Rivera. Rivera in on a single. Couldn't quite finish. When we say single in wrestling, we mean attacking one leg. Double would be either he attacking 2 legs. That's a legitimate stalling call right there. Ethan Kyle has made no attempt at a leg attack on Manny Rivera. Here's his first shot. Oh, he's in trouble! Manny throws him to his back.
2-point takedown, Golden Gopher.
Manny Rivera changing the momentum in a big hurry.
He's still got him in trouble. He's got a chance for a fall here. He's got to work his chest up on top of Kyle. He doesn't want to lose him here. He's got takedown and near fall already. Now he's got to go for the fall. Kyle gets off his back.
3-point near fall, Golden Gopher.
And there's the
3-point near
separation right there in this match that the Gophers needed.
Now, is this a match where they hope to get a major decision? When you look at this on paper ahead of time, you would think that with Manny at number 5 and a substitute on the other side, that they would hope for that situation here.
I think they're coming into this match thinking bonus points. Manny's still got a hard overhook, but runs out of time.
One more look at the takedown by Manny Rivera and the near fall.
Ethan actually tries to go offensive here, and he gets hip tossed to his back. Manny just stayed in good position, got his arm underneath Ethan's, and just what we call a hip toss, threw him to his back.
Does that surprise you that he tried to kind of switch over to the offense at that point?
Well, I think that was a little bit forced by the officials giving him a stalling call, and maybe a little mental clock telling him, if I don't get going, I'm going to get called again. And sure enough, when he did try something, he got in trouble, which is probably why he's been a little bit more defensive so far in the match. Manny controlling the underhook situation here. Kyle tries another shot. Manny's going to try and take advantage of this here. For a goal ahead. Oh, nice pick by Manny Rivera.
2-point takedown, Rivera.
Another 2-point takedown for Rivera.
Look for Rivera to open this match up here in the third period. He's going to call for a neutral position. He's got a 10-2 lead and riding time. He's up 8 with the riding time would be 9. He's got a major decision right now. I think they're going to pick it up and maybe go for a technical fall or possibly a pin. The object here is if I give him 1 and I get 2, I increase my lead. I increase my lead. So Manny's going to try and increase his lead here. He's giving Ethan 1, and now he's going to try and score more points.
Oklahoma State.
Look for Ethan Kyle at this point, just try and hang on and try and stop the momentum, stop the points, and do what he's doing right now. Just slow the pace down, grab wrist, hang on, take very few chances, and keep the score as close as he can. Rivera, another single leg shot here. Comes up through the legs. Now he's got to take his time here, make sure he doesn't get in trouble or lose this takedown. Kyle's going to do everything he can to hang on.
He's got 30 seconds to do it.
Kyle doing a good job of hanging on to Manny's ankle there. There's the 2. Manny's got the arm in trouble. This is called an overhook in wrestling.
Now a 9-point advantage plus riding time.
At this point, Ethan Kyle's just trying to survive now. He's just trying to get through the match without getting pinned. 5 seconds. Kyle's going to do his job, but Manny's going to do his job. Both teams are going to feel pretty good about it. But Manny gets the major decision for the Gophers.
So Minnesota goes back on top thanks to Manny Rivera.
Minnesota wins the match.
The California kid comes in and wins again. 14-0 on the season. An impressive performance by Manny Rivera as he jogs off to the locker room. John Smith looking things over as he gets set for the 149-pound division. Ryan for Oklahoma State against Dustin Schlatter. What more needs to be said about Dustin Schlatter except defending national champion?
Here's Dustin winning the national title. You can see him there. He's so explosive, so fast, can do so many things out on the mat. And there he is winning the national title against Ty Eustace from the University of Iowa. Great thing for him last year. Interesting, I said to Marty, what does Dustin do this year? He's a national champion. He won it as a true freshman. Okay, what does he come and do? He says, well, first thing Dustin wanted to do was work on his bottom wrestling. He felt like he had some weaknesses there. But didn't show any weaknesses on that double right there, taking Freeman down immediately in this match, going to work right away.
Dustin Schlatter coming off the best freshman season in school history. No true freshman, or any freshman for that matter, had ever won a national championship, but that's exactly what the sophomore from Massillon, Ohio, did last year. Massillon, Ohio, of course, that's football country over there in Ohio.
I'm sure that the football coaches there were recruiting the Schlatter brothers.
Do you think?
Yeah. do some football on the field. But right now, Dustin in control of this match. Trying to take a little bit out of Freeman. Now a chance for back points here. He's got him. Arm hooked. He's got Freeman's shoulders in danger zone. He's got to be past 90. His shoulders go past the 90-degree point. They get near fall points. He's got 3 near fall. Increases his lead to 5-0.
Already up 5-0. A minute's worth of riding time, and we're only $1:20 into the match. I mean, this already Schlatter showing his wares.
An overhook wrist ride, using it as a tilt series from Schlatter right now, and looking like he might get more back points again. Here we go. He's got a count going. Not a pinning situation, but a point scoring situation. 3 more near fall, now leads 8-0.
So Minnesota leading in the match after the victory by Manny Rivera. It is now 7-4 Minnesota. And they're looking for another major decision here, or possibly a fall.
Ryan Freeman's got to feel like he's in a lot of trouble here, Schlatter. I'm down. I come out, I get taken down in 10 seconds. I get turned twice. I'm down 8-0. It's only going to get worse from here.
And he continues to put the pressure on, does Dustin Schlatter. 51-1 in his young college career. That's amazing.
You know, already people saying, will he ever lose again in college? If we would go back, he lost one very close match during his freshman year. You know, I think it's all going to depend on Dustin's perspective and how he approaches wrestling at this point. Some guys would win a national title and maybe come back and say, oh, I won a national title, I'm good, I'm the guy, and let other people catch him. If he continues to separate and continues to train and work hard, this guy will not be beat by anyone because he's that talented at this point.
After 1 period, Schlatter leads 8-0.
Schlatter leading 8-0, and you can see that Dustin Schlatter has now won 39 straight. That is the 3rd most consecutive wins in University of Minnesota history. And of course, Cole Konrad ahead of him on the list. We'll see Cole Konrad a little bit later on. He's at 45. So I guess that Dustin's just waiting for Cole to graduate so that he can pass it.
Behind former 2-time national champion Tim Hartong there on the list. Oh. Still hasn't scored the 2.
2-point takedown.
Dustin just
Schlatter.
disappears on Freeman. Freeman not exactly sure where he went at that point. You could just see his feet were frozen, and Schlatter was behind him.
So it's 10-0. Schlatter in control.
Looking for more back points with this wrist turn, using it as a tilt. Doing a great job here, Dustin is. Just racking up the points. 13-0.
3-point near fall Schlatter.
Kind of looks like he might even have a chance for 2 more. Oh, he did get 2.
Just to give you an idea of the domination of this guy.
Technical fall for Dustin Schlatter. Watch this shot. Watch him disappear on this outside, and Freeman just doesn't even know where he's at. Then just drop him down to the mat. It's amazing the speed and power in which he does things, and I'm sure Ryan Freeman is asking the same question that all of us are. Where'd he go and how does he do this?
It's amazing. And you look at the statistics, 15-0, 15-0, 17-0, 15-0, 16-1, and then the rest of them are pins. I mean, he is just hammering everybody.
The Gophers, because of the technical fall, will be given 5 team points, so they'll lead the duel. Now 12-4. 57-pound match.
Newly McSpadden, say that fast 5 times for Oklahoma State. 5-3 on the year against Tyler Safratowich. And Tyler 12-4 on the season, 2-1 in dual meets, 28-13 overall. He, of course, from up north, Park Rapids, Minnesota. first meeting between these two, unless you know something I don't know?
They have not wrestled yet.
Okay, thank you.
Jeremy Larson is in a heated competition just in his wrestling, or excuse me, Tyler coming out at 157, starts out the year 12-4. It looked like for a while he was going to be wrestling at the, I was going to say he was going to try and wrestle at the 165-pound weight class with Jeremy Larson, because this is normally a spot that CP Schlatter wrestles at. Now CP's got an injury right now. They expect him back. He's going to be fine. But Tyler's going to get some matches here at 157. So a great opportunity for him to get some experience and maybe down the road compete with Larson for the 165-pound spot.
CP, by the way, was hurt at the Northeastern Duels in Albany, New York back on November 25th. He sprained his knee, and he was the Big Ten champion last year at 157. So Minnesota very strong at this weight class as well. Not a bad combination, the Schlatter brothers.
Yeah, I think everybody in the country would have liked to have had those two guys.
Wow.
Tyler using an underhook here, trying to get Newley out of position. Newley with a nice shot here on, wow, Safratowich showing some power, still scrambling. Both guys scrambling. No points yet, what a great scramble.
Both of them right on the edge. Now, are they using the out of bounds? Is either one using the out of bounds for advantage here?
They're both, McSpadden's trying to get out of bounds and not lose control of the situation.
And they award Oklahoma State some points. They're trying to decide it, I think.
I can't not believe that he's going to try and award 2 points in this situation. There's absolutely no control for either wrestler. I think both coaches would agree that there's just no point. That's the right call. They come to...
And, of course, John Smith doesn't like it. Imagine that.
What a great series of action there. Both guys trying things, countering, trying another move, countering. Great action from both wrestlers. Newly McSpadden is coming off of wrestling the #1 ranked Trent Paulson. Only lost the match 7-3. I mean, he wrestled the #1 guy. He wrestled him pretty tough. Oh, he's got Tyler in all kinds of trouble. Threw him to a back, although Tyler is out of bounds. Newley's going to get 2 points here for the takedown.
So he takes the 2-0 advantage.
Anytime you get the double underhook and you get your hands locked behind the guy's back, you've got that man in trouble. And Tyler was lucky that he was near the edge of the mat. You see his hands get locked behind his back and puts him out of bounds, although he did step out there. Could have been an out-of-bounds call there. John may have actually come right out onto the mat and started wrestling if they would have made that call.
We might have had to come over and look at our replays. I don't think I want John over here, though.
McSpadden doing a similar ride as what we saw Coleman Scott, both legs in, riding high, working on a high half series. This is really wearing on your opponent when you have both legs in and you're working and you're grinding on a high half series. That means you've got his hand buried above his neck. Now you see Tyler's hand coming across. Not a place you want to be when you're in the down position.
After one period, Oklahoma State leads.
So it is 2-0 in favor of McSpadden.
He does have 38 seconds of riding time, so Tyler's going to want to get up and out as quickly as possible in this situation.
Safratowich, by the way, has won his last 2 matches and 3 of his last 4. A close 5-4 win in Northern Colorado.
Trying to keep that top leg out. He doesn't want both legs to come in. You saw him reaching up and grabbing that top leg. Now that top leg's back in. He could get pinched here, but looks like he's working his way out. Right now he's guaranteed 1, but if he could get into the mat, he'll get 2. No control. They're going to give 1 for the neutral position.
So now
in this next situation, you can see Tyler reach up and grab the top leg up here. Watch him grab it with his hand right there. That's what got him out. If you'd have let that leg came in and both legs would have been in again, he wouldn't have got away. Fortunately for him, he controlled that top leg and it worked him out for an escape.
2-1. Good look at John Smith, head coach at Oklahoma State. Defending national champions. #1 in the nation. Gophers lead right now 12-4. But there's plenty of wrestling still to come here.
Tyler's been in on a couple good shots already in this match. I'd like to see him get back in there and create a scramble. Newly kind of wrestles. He's kind of a freewheeler out here. He's willing to get in and scramble and get some things going. But that can get you in trouble sometimes. Tyler's got to take some chances out here. Here it is. He's in on a shot. Doesn't want to get dumped to his hip. Got to stay facing him, or if he gives up, if Newly can come around and hook an ankle or secure an ankle, he'll get two. Safratowich trying to hang on here. Good position. You see Newly trying to reach back. That's wearing on Tyler. He's in there. He's fighting McSpadden's hips. McSpadden driving his hips into him. You're carrying all the guy's weight when you're fighting the leg like that. It's hard on your arms. However, I think McSpadden looks a little bit more fatigued. This could come down to a conditioning match here.
10 seconds to go in the second period.
Typically in a match like this where both opponents seem to be pretty evenly matched, it's going to come down to the conditioning of each wrestler, of who's going to win the match. So both coaches are saying, I hope we've trained our guys to go the full 7 minutes out here and outlast their opponent and score when they're tired.
And the riding time certainly is going to be a factor here in the third period.
Tyler certainly wants to erase 9 seconds off the clock right now and erase the riding time for Newly. And he has done that right now.
So they're inside of a minute on the riding time.
No points would be awarded at this point for riding time for either wrestler.
Now, what is he trying to do now?
I think he's trying to wear him out, seeing if he can get some sort of possible tip or tilt ride going. He's working hard on the wrist, keeping Newly flattened out, and building his own riding time. If he can get to 1 minute riding time, he could have had a bonus point for himself. And now we've got a technical violation, I think. Possibly, we may have had a scissors on the head. And there, yes. Newly's going to get awarded a reversal, and right before the reversal, Tyler locked his feet around Newly's head, and that's illegal. It's called a head scissors. It's illegal in college wrestling, and was awarded a point. But here comes, look at this, Tyler coming back out for his own reversal. By 3.
2-point reversal.
Under a minute to go.
And an escape from McSpadden. Now 6-3. 46 seconds. Tyler's got to go. He's got to create action. The clock is not his friend at this point. He's going to need at least 2 scores to come back in this match. Trying to get to a leg. Newly trying to go for that body lock that he used earlier in the match to get Tyler taken down. He's got both arms in double underhook. Stalemate, just 18 seconds left.
Any chance here?
It would have to be something feet to back. He's going to have to get a takedown with near fall.
And obviously, he's trying to do something drastic here.
In on a leg here. Uh-oh, Newly put Tyler in trouble. He's got Tyler in all kinds of trouble. Just 2 seconds left.
Just barely escaping.
A huge takedown and near fall there from McSpadden, because not only did they get the decision, they get the win, but here it comes, and now, here you can see Tyler initiating action, but McSpadden just overpowers him, wrenches him over, and then throws him to his back and gets back points, and those back points increase the lead past 8, and now becomes a major decision. Another bonus point for the Oklahoma State Cowboys.
So they get an 11-3 victory, a major decision. We'll head into the locker room. Minnesota leading, but the lead has now been trimmed to 12-8. Back with more from the pavilion right after this timeout. We are at intermission. Oklahoma State visiting the University of Minnesota Golden Gophers wrestling team, and talking now with head coach Jay Robinson. And Jay, a surprising early season loss for your club this year to Hofstra. Talk about bouncing back from that defeat.
Well, I think that one of the things we did is that we weren't prepared. We did, you know, you get to be number 1 sometimes, and then you just kind of sit on it, and you expect, you know, to win more than earning that right. And I think that's what we did. We didn't have a lot of intensity, didn't have a lot of emotion. And we just went out there, we expected everybody to lay down for us, and they didn't. And it was probably a good lesson to learn early.
You have a couple of national champions on this team. How important is that for this team in order to be successful this year?
Well, it's always important to have national champions because they're great leaders, and they show your young people what you have to do to be good. And so, you know, you got Konrad, who's a great example of what you got to do and how you do it right. And you just a little bit, you know, diligent, a little bit every day makes a big difference. And then Dustin Schlatter, on the other hand, a freshman, comes in, wins the national tournament. That tells kids that anybody can win at any time. So you get the best of both worlds with those two.
21 years in this business at the University of Minnesota. I know you don't feel that old, though, do you?
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is, though, is you have a very good team again this year. Compare what you have this year to a couple of those national championship teams from a few years ago.
Well, I think one of the, if you just look at statistics, a cool statistic, I think the 2000 team, we had 5 Big Ten champs that year. They won the Big Ten. We have 5 returning Big Ten champs this year with a couple of other ones that could be in there. So if they all get healthy, this could be one of the best teams that we've ever had at Minnesota. So the potential here is just unbelievable.
Jay, thanks, and good luck the rest of the way.
We hope to go get it and finish it the right way.
We are at intermission. We'll be back with more from the University of Minnesota right after this timeout. Back here at the Pavilion on the campus of the University of Minnesota. You see Minnesota leading at intermission 12-8. Of course, this is a team that went to the national championships last year, but now they have a whole new season in front of them, and Marty Gellner takes a look back at what happened last year and what they hope to happen this year.
Konrad will continue his dominance of Steve Bucko this year. Dustin Schlatter, a freshman, your champion at 149.
Last season, the Golden Gopher wrestling team stepped up from underdog status into the spotlight at the NCAA championships. 3-time All-American Cole Konrad won an individual title in the heavyweight division, and Dustin Schlatter became the first freshman in Gopher history to win an individual national title.
It was an amazing feeling. You know, it's something I've been working for years, and something I finally accomplished, and accomplished so early is something really great.
Anytime you have kids reach their goals, it's really rewarding for everybody, I think. I think it's rewarding for the kids, but also for the families and the coaches and their teammates, is that we all strive for perfection or excellence, and then to see one of our counterparts get it, everybody feels good about that.
This season, the Minnesota Wrestlers are the team to beat. Ranked #1 in the preseason polls, the Gophers returned 7 NCAA qualifiers from last year's team and 4 All-Americans. After securing 13 titles in their first 2 competitions of the season, the Gophers traveled to Albany, New York over Thanksgiving weekend for the Northeast Duels, where they suffered a heartbreaking loss to Hofstra. However, they rebounded from their upset, coming back to gain not only their next 3 matches, but also a lesson in having that #1 status.
We were ranked #1 going in the state. You know, we got upset last week, but I think it's a good...
Their first fight was personal.
You know?
Well, motivation may be the key here. Minnesota leading by a score of 12-8 at intermission. Are they where you think they thought they would have been at this point?
Basically, so far the matches have gone as expected, probably for both coaching staffs. I think that both teams took care of the wins that they were supposed to get, and both did in dominating fashion. Oklahoma State got 2 majors. The Gophers obviously had the technical fall from Dustin Schlatter, and Jayson Ness got a nice win in his match at 125. So far, things have gone as expected.
All right, let's take a look at how each of these 5 matches went. Ness, the decision over Shinn. Scott with the major decision over Thorn. And then Rivera with a major decision. That really kind of turned the tide of this so far, hasn't it?
With their starter out, you know, Ethan Kyle came in and tried to do the best he could with Manny Rivera, and you could see right away he tried to slow the pace of the match down, but Manny ended up taking control of that match and started to dominate the match as it went on, and when he did, it just opened up. Here you see Ness early in the match just got real physical with Shinn toward the end of the match there and ended up, you know, getting the winning takedown here. But just his physical, his aspects where he was constantly putting pressure on him, that's the way he got it done in that match. And then, of course, here you see Coleman Scott, very slick, good movement on his feet, had Thorn in trouble most of the match. And Thorn was just at the end there trying to avoid getting pinned.
Then Manny Rivera stepped in and did his thing.
Manny really worked the third period action on Ethan Kyle and getting the big back points at the end of the match, a possible pinfall. He looks good. He's still undefeated. Here's a guy who's having a great year.
Speaking of undefeated, Dustin Schlatter, wow, was he dominant against Ryan Freeman. This was not even close.
Yeah, you don't want your backup guy going out against B.J. Jackson's the usual starter for Oklahoma State. They send a backup in, Ryan Freeman out. You don't want to do that with the #1 guy ranked in the country.
Kind of feeding him to the wolves there. And then newly McSpadden gets a big victory for Oklahoma State here. And as you mentioned, a major, winning 11-3. So they got the 8-point win. They got exactly what they wanted.
Both teams are going to hope that the bonus points don't come back to haunt them. The Oklahoma State team obviously didn't want to give up bonus points in the matches that they were in. And then, of course, the Gophers didn't want to give up bonus points in the 2 matches that they ended up losing and should have probably avoided bonus points in those situations. So we'll see if it becomes a factor down the road. Still 5 matches to go. Both teams favored in a couple of these matches and one toss-up like we talked about earlier with Mason and Dretsch at 174.
All right, we're halfway home. We'll be back right after this with the 165-pound match and more. You're watching Gopher Wrestling on FSN North. I bet Jay Robinson's a hockey fan. He runs hockey camps.
It would be interesting to see Jay Rob do some ice skating.
Put him on those pins out there, yeah. See how he does, huh?
With the 2 replaced knees, it would be interesting out there.
I think walking is a good thing for him right now. All right, Johny Hendricks, #1 in the nation, 7-0 thus far this year, taking on Jeremy Larson. And this obviously is a situation where Minnesota is just hoping to see some things that against Johny Hendricks that don't often happen.
Well, he's the returning national champion. He's the leader of the Cowboy team. He's a guy who wants to see this team stay at the #1 spot. He wants to win another national title himself, but he wants to see the team stay on top. Their motto right now at Oklahoma State is drive for 5. They want to win their 5th national title in a row. This is one of the guys that they're banking on to go and score a lot of points at the end of the year at the NCAA tournament. And yes, Jeremy Larson's got his hands full here tonight, wrestling the #1 ranked guy in the country.
Jeremy Larson on the year, 7-5, 3-1 in dual meets. The junior from Preston, Minnesota. Some mind games being played here. Jeremy Larson has not come out of the locker room. Finally, he comes out. Kind of makes Johny Hendricks wait for a minute or 2.
Jeremy's a guy who every day has to bring it in the wrestling room because he's in constant competition for this weight class at the University of Minnesota. Like I talked about earlier, Tyler Safratowich, he's interested in the spot when CP comes down, along with Mitch Coleman, along with Nate Matusik, along with Scott Glasser, and now Jeremy Larson. There's going to be 5 guys who are going to be interested in this 165 spot all year. And I tell you what, it's going to be a dogfight. So Jeremy doesn't get an easy day in the wrestling room at the University of Minnesota because he's in constant action, constant competition for a spot, which is good for him, which is good for whoever becomes the 65-pounder for the Gophers at the end of the year.
The good news from Jeremy Larson, he has never had the opportunity to wrestle Johny Hendricks before this.
Another opportunity like we talked about with Mike Thorn. Hendricks in on a quick shot. Not much of a reaction there from Larson, although doing a good job now defending. Hendricks hanging onto that leg. Hendricks wrestles with a lot of movement, a lot of action. He's extremely powerful, very physical wrestler. He starts off right away with a single and a 2-point takedown and made it look pretty easy, actually.
Yeah. What kind of strategy does Jeremy Larson bring into this? What does he hope to do here?
Well, you can come in with a lot of strategies when you're wrestling a guy like Hendricks. You come out and try and catch him early and maybe get a lead, or you can try and do the style that Ethan Kyle tried with Manny Rivera and slow the match down, hang on to wrist, try and tie your opponent up, avoid scoring situations, and try and keep the match close. Jeremy came out very physical, went hard right away. So it looks like he's choosing the #1 that I talked about, and then he's going to try and go out and do something with Hendricks.
Well, and you would think that...
Oh, he's in trouble. He's in a lot of trouble here. Hendricks showing his speed and power, and he's got Jeremy in all kinds of trouble here. Jeremy's going to try and punch an arm through. If he can get an arm across his body, he can come out of this situation. He doesn't want Hendricks to lock his hands around his leg. A fall here would be a huge point for the Cowboys. Hendricks got Larson in a lot of trouble. Larson, look at his neck. He's got to be a contortionist out there. Hendricks trying to ease his shoulders down and get a fall for the Cowboys. This would be a huge, huge point scorer for the Cowboys and keep them in this match.
30 seconds still to go in this first period.
Larson in a lot of trouble, and he's going to be here for a while. Trying to find a way out. 22 seconds.
Boy, it's just
trying to avoid the fall.
It's a race against the clock. You can hear his teammates.
He's in trouble. He's in trouble. The Cowboys are standing. John Smith standing. He's on the edge of the mat.
5 seconds.
Larson in trouble. He makes it through.
He avoids the fall, but not by much. And he's down 7-1 with 1 period in the books.
That was a big, you know, with bonus points, you never know. Will 6 or 5 be a difference at the end of this match? Who knows? I mean, at this point, you've got to try and do everything you can to save every team point possible. And Larson did a nice job there, not giving up the fall. You know, he's down 7-1. He's staring at a technical fall here if Hendricks keeps scoring points like he is. But 6 or 5 is a big difference on the board, and he's trying to do everything he can to avoid that.
Add 4 seconds back on.
Hendricks extremely explosive. Fast, another shot. Larson did a good job countering and reacting on that shot.
And the official just put 4 seconds back on the clock.
Larson wants to avoid any situation where he can be taken down and go to his back again. Not a situation. Here's the same takedown that he tried earlier. Now he's got, Jeremy's arm is getting wrenched. Your arms aren't built to do that. Look at Hendricks just working him over.
Hendricks has 100 wins in his career. Just the 26th member of the 100-win club for Oklahoma State. Absolutely impressive record.
He lets Larson go, trying to build his lead, get closer to a technical fall. He knows he needs to get as many points for the Cowboys that he can get in this match. He now leads 10-2. He's obviously going to have riding time. Got an 8-point decision right now. Now Jeremy just needs to kind of slow the match down, control the ties, try and keep this thing close and avoid a technical fall or a pin.
They mentioned 100 wins for Hendricks in his career. He's 112. That's just
another takedown, and now in what we call leg turk position.
And they'll stop at the official spotting some blood on the face of Larson.
Here's the shot by Hendricks that really got in quick, and you see he's got the leg turk right there. This may have resulted in back points, and Jeremy Larson's going to maybe not feel very good about bleeding at this time, but he's going to benefit on the scoreboard from having some blood time because he was probably going to his back for near fall at that situation. Hendricks now leads 12-2. He's got a chance to build for a technical fall.
And you see Jay Robinson's record at home. There are now 4 seasons in the books where he has not lost a home match, including last year. Of course, they were 8-0 last season.
With this rivalry, the way it's gone, and this has been it's got to be a scary match for Coach Robinson because the home team hasn't won since 1997. You know, they want to keep their home streak alive. They haven't lost in 4 years. They want to keep it rolling. And you got the #1 team in the country coming into your house. They really want to get this done, and they need something here from Jeremy Larson. They need to avoid big bonus points here in the next period and a half with Jeremy Larson at this weight class at 165 pounds.
Well, and as you heard Jay Robinson talk about during the intermission, and we talked about a little bit earlier, Oklahoma State has only lost 13 matches since 1999. but Minnesota has handed them 7 of those 13 losses. I mean, it is an impressive record by the U of M against this club.
I think they've been a thorn in the side of Oklahoma State in dual meets. You know, I think if you talk to Coach Smith about the things that have happened in the last few years after they've won national titles, the team that keeps creeping up on them and keeps giving them losses is this Gopher team, and I'm sure he's not very happy about that. Like I said, the Gophers over the last 4 years have a very steady dual meet teams that if you don't have good guys at every weight, you're going to lose matches to them.
All right, now they're taping Larson up. Now, what happens? What is the situation here with regard to the blood? You said that they get a blood timeout. Are those unlimited? How exactly does that work?
Each wrestler has a blood time amount allotted. No, they don't ever want a wrestler to lose a match because of a bloody nose or a cut. So they give blood time. Now, they don't have an unlimited amount, but it seems almost unlimited because it can go on forever. And what they have to do is clean the blood. Once the blood stops being cleaned, then they stop the time. And then they have a dressing time. And right now they're dressing Jeremy. Very few wrestlers have lost a match because of blood time. However, they will stop the match if there's any blood being noticed dripping or oozing onto the mat. And that's why in that situation where he got taken down and looked like he was going to his back, he benefited from having some blood time.
Now 12-2 the score here. Re-explain to us again the bonus point situation and the difference between a fall and on a major decision and what Minnesota is trying to avoid here.
If Hendricks can win by 15 points, it's called a technical fall. You saw Dustin Schlatter do that earlier, and the match will be stopped, and the team will be awarded 5 points. A fall, on the other hand, is worth 6 points. So right now, what Coach Smith and Johnny Hendricks are trying to do in this match is position themselves to guarantee the tech fall, but yet keep the match going so that they have an opportunity to still pin their opponent, which is Jeremy Larson at this point. Jeremy in this situation is trying to avoid those two things from happening. So even though the match isn't about who's going to win or lose, there's still things going on out here that will be factored in the team score.
And again, you saw this a little earlier where an opponent that's dominating allows his opponent to get up and gives him the reversal so that he can attack.
Well, he can increase his lead. Give him 1, I get 2, and I just continue to increase my lead and get closer to those bonus points. You can see Hendricks now up 14-4. He's going to go optional start when he comes back. Wrestlers have the option to start in what they call a regular position or what they call a neutral position, where they're showing the official that they're going to allow the wrestler to just get away, give them a point, and then go for another takedown and increase their lead.
Which is what happens there. So 5 now for Larson. It's almost a chess match.
Yes, it is. When you're wrestling in an individual tournament, you might not see so much of this, but in dual meet situations, you see a lot of letting guys go, taking and trying to build leads and score bonus points for the teams in a dual meet situation. Now Larson being warned for stalling. Hendricks in on a leg, looking for a hip toss. And try and catch a head there, try and do anything where you can get what we call a feet-to-back takedown. Larson doing a good job trying to avoid that situation again. Hendricks still on the attack, still trying to attack and score.
A 9-point deficit, 50 seconds to go, so he wants to keep this lead under 14, obviously, because he's going to lose riding time, correct?
Boy, if Larson could keep this just to a major, that would be huge. At one point, he looked like he was going to be pinned. That would have been 6 points. If he can keep it to just a major decision, which it looks like he can do in the next 44 seconds, that's going to be a loss for the Gophers, but yet a win mentally, in that they save bonus points.
And it's certainly an attainable goal now.
Hendricks trying to throw by. Larson's going to get warned for stalling here again. He's just not coming forward. In trouble! Luckily, he slipped out of that situation. Hendricks doing everything he can to attack and score points. Takedown again for Hendricks. Increases the lead 16-5, now 16-6.
1 point in the game,
Just 20 seconds left here. It does not look like Johnny Hendricks is going to get the job done for the Cowboys.
Well, an educated fan base here knows exactly what he's doing, too. Because they're cheering the fact that he has done this and he is going to save these bonus points.
Exactly what they're cheering. He's just 12 seconds away from getting through the match. Doesn't want to go to his back here. Give up 2, don't give up 5. That's what he's done. Now 18-6 with riding time will be 19-6. That will not be enough for a technical fall. Ends up in just a major decision, and only 4 points for the Cowboys.
And a standing ovation from this packed house for Jeremy Larson, who avoids the fall and avoids the technical fall, and basically does what Jay Robinson. Jay Robinson goes over and shakes his hand as he leaves the mat. And so Minnesota's lead is now 12-11, but they only give up the 3. It's time for the 174-pounders. We talked about this before the start of tonight's match. Gabe Dretsch, Brandon Mason. Dretsch ranked 13th, Mason ranked 8th. This could determine who wins tonight.
Well, you got a tied match, 12-12. We said this was going to be a pivotal match at the beginning of the program, and sure enough, here we are, match tied. 2 guys coming out. Number 13 versus number 8, but yet number 13's got an early season victory over number 8. Mason is very tough on top, and this is going to be a factor in this match. He's very good at turning and tilting people on the top position, and that's playing in the back of the mind. I know the coaches talked to me earlier about it with Dretsch, that will they go down in this situation? Will they choose the down position, or will they try and wrestle the match on the feet? Dretsch has been able to score takedowns against Mason, and that's where they want the match to be wrestled. Mason's going to obviously try and be on top. He can work turns. He actually, in one of his wins earlier last year, he scored a lot of points from the top position. So another chess match going on here by both coaching staffs.
It was a 4-1 win for Dretsch when they wrestled earlier this year. Mason, at the time, was ranked number 6, has now dropped down to number 8. Dretsch, most recently against Penn's Matt Harrington. Of course, Harrington number 2 in the nation, losing there a 10-7 match, and then winning over Ryan Johnson of Northern Colorado to up his record again. So Dretsch, 10-3, 2-3 in duels.
If you're Oklahoma State right now, you have to have this match. You're staring at Roger Kish at 184, who's going to be heavily favored in his match, and you're staring at Konrad at heavyweight, who's going to be heavily favored in that match. Their opportunities to win this dual meet are going to be at 174 and 197. It's currently tied. They need this win. If Oklahoma State's going to get out of here without being upset by the number 3 team in the state, in the country, I think they got to have this match. Dretsch trying to throw by single. Mason does a good job countering.
Pretty conservative start to this match.
Both guys, they've wrestled each other 4 times. They know each other. They're feeling each other out, trying to see what openings they can get here in this match. Dretsch using an underhook position to try and set up some scores, but hasn't been able to get to a leg attack as of yet.
Under a minute here in the first period. Dretsch from Frazee, Minnesota. A junior.
You can't tell by watching it, but both wrestlers are putting a lot of pressure on each other, pulling on their arms, pulling on their head, pulling on their necks, trying to wear their opponent down to get an opening later in the match. It doesn't look like there's a lot of action going on a leg attack. Oh, Dretsch with the quick just grab a leg, take him down.
Caught you off guard, huh?
End of the period score with just 12 seconds left. If he can ride him out, big time score right here. Got to keep him down, doesn't want to lose him here. Get a takedown, score 2, don't allow him to get 1 back. Here's the takedown. Using the underhook position again, just reaches down, tacks the leg, quick 2 points right at the end of the period. Gets him an early first period lead, 2-0. He's got 3 seconds, he's got to keep him down here.
Want to lose the point. And he holds the fort for the 3 seconds, and so we'll start period number 2 with Dretsch leading 2-0. Gabe Dretsch finished.
And this is what we talked about. I talked about it earlier in the match. Coach Smith felt like, okay, we can turn this guy when we're on top. This is the exact position the Gopher coaching staff did not want Dretsch to be in. Looking for a quick escape here. Dretsch trying to work his way out. Well, and we're going to go get what we call a potentially dangerous position. Typically, a official blows this situation. Now, in a stand, when a bottom wrestler gets to his feet, there should be a warning for stalling if the top wrestler jumps on their back, because it becomes a potentially dangerous position. But
why wasn't it called there?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. If he does it again, I'm sure we will get a warning. Gabe Dretsch, if you look at his bottom hand, you can't quite see it in this position. He's holding that leg from coming in between his legs to get a leg ride position. He's trying to avoid Mason getting his legs in. You saw Coleman Scott use this double leg ride. You saw McSpadden use the double leg ride. And now here, Mason trying again to get his legs in. You can see Dretsch just trying to keep those legs out. He's doing a good job here. He's trying to build to his base. Mason works one leg in, and now here it is again. On his feet, over his back, and there's the warning for stalling. It is the responsibility of the top wrestler to return the bottom man to the mat.
All right, now he's been warned, so if he's warned again, then it's a point.
And it will be a point. So a good position for Dretsch here would be for Dretsch to get to his feet again.
And that's exactly what he's trying to do.
And he climbs on again. It's the responsibility of the top man to return him to the mat. He's going to get 5 seconds, and there's the warning for a point. John Smith is staggering, falling down. He can't believe it. He can't believe he's unhappy with this call. He's going to talk to the officials again.
Now, John Smith has spent a lot of time talking to the officials tonight.
Yes, you can't jump on the guy's back. This isn't a rodeo. You got to try and get the guy back down to the mat. It's the responsibility of the top man to bring him down.
Now, these two guys have obviously, because they have wrestled so many times previously, they know what's coming. Is this something that's thought out? Did Dretsch know before coming in that this is something that he's going to have to be dealing with?
He knows exactly the type of rider that Mason is. He knows that he's been in trouble in this position before, and it's cost him matches against this wrestler. So he wanted to avoid the down position. He's got to be careful right now. He's going to get warned for stalling. He's not attempting an escape. He's not trying to move. And there's the warning for stalling. And the official's calling him for stalling.
Warning,
I think Dretsch at this point is willing to take a warning to avoid being turned. I'm certain that when Dretsch gets his choice here in the third period that he's not going to go down. But maybe I'll be wrong.
Let me ask you this. Can he prepare for an opponent like this that he knows a lot of what he's going to do? Does he spend the previous 4 or 5 days in practice preparing specifically for these type of things?
He absolutely has. He's watched tape on Mason. He's watched the match. He's watched the situation where he got turned. He knew what's going to happen. He's going to try and throw his legs in. I got to avoid that situation. Keep this match on the feet where he can score. He's taken Mason down once. He can go out and take him down again. Now the match's score right now is 3-0, but it's technically 3-1 because Mason does have riding time. If Mason were to get a takedown and keep Dretsch down, the match would be tied. So we'll see. Still very pivotal. No match, no wrestler dominating the situation right now.
We are in the third period. Dretsch with a 3-0 lead. Riding time currently in favor of Mason. This a pivotal match.
Very surprised here. Mason down. He knows he needs a takedown. Has not really even made an attempt on Dretsch's legs. Hasn't really made much of an attempt on any offense whatsoever. I mean, he's the guy who's behind.
So what's the strategy then?
And now Dretsch with the possible takedown here. Feet stays. Oh, wait. Oh, Mason did a great job countering. That would have sealed the match for Dretsch. But Mason finds a way to face him on the edge. That was a little bit of a mistake there by Dretsch. He stopped wrestling on the edge thinking that Mason would stop wrestling as well, and Mason didn't, and countered and faced it. Just 30 seconds to go here.
And a couple extra seconds ticked off that clock, too, after the whistle. The near side official just barely caught a look at the clock after about 3 seconds it ticked off.
Mason's first shot here in the match at 20 seconds to go. He's still down. Dretsch has been warned for stalling. He could be warned again. If he keeps going backwards, he's going to get called. No points yet. Still no points. 5 seconds to go.
Dretsch is in good shape.
And Dretsch is going to come away with the key victory. for the Gophers.
A big, big victory for junior Gabe Dretsch. Ups his record to 11-3 on the year. Has now beaten Brandon Mason 3 out of the 5 times. A huge win for Minnesota as we head into the home stretch here as you see Dretsch head for the locker room.
Wrestling in 184 pounds, Oklahoma State.
John Smith not happy with the loss right now, or the loss in that particular match, but you can see that losing doesn't happen very often at Oklahoma State. 4 straight NCAA titles, 34 team championships, 132 at Oklahoma State.
They have their eyes on a 5th straight national title. They're currently ranked #1 in the country, but they're in a lot of trouble in this dual meet right now. Facing now Roger Kish, who's the NCAA runner-up from a year ago. He's currently 9-0, ranked #2 in the country.
So Kish, another of those unbeatens that we spoke of earlier, against Jack Jensen, the junior from Sheboygan, Wisconsin. Jensen 5-4 on the year, 1-2 in duels. First meeting between these two. 74-16, Roger Kish in his Golden Gopher career.
Roger wrestled in the All-Star Classic early in the year and did lose the match to the national champion Herbert from Oregon, but that doesn't count on his official record because it's the All-Star meet, and they don't count that one. So currently undefeated on the official regular season matches. In here on an early single, Jack Jensen showing some power there to hip Kish over. Kish still on the leg, still trying to finish. Trying to work the leg out in front of him, and a good finish by Roger Kish.
2-point takedown for Kish. And off the mat they go.
Earlier in the match, you saw Tyler Shinn use what we call a wizard position. That's where this arm holds the guy's backside wizard, and Kish uses what we call a limp arm, and he limped his arm through. That's something that they're going to want Jayson Ness to learn over the next couple years so he can finish that single leg like Kish does. Watch the limp arm there. Beautiful, and avoid that wizard position.
Kish, a victory in Northern Colorado with a pin in his last outing.
1 point escape, Oklahoma State.
His 5th pin of the season.
Kish didn't make a real, what I call aggressive effort to keep Jack down. He kind of just let him go out here. I think he's going to try and build his lead here in the first period and start working for some more points for the Gopher team.
And you have to be impressed with this Gopher lineup with the Big Ten champions and national champions that they have in this roster. Jay Robinson has to feel pretty good about where he's at right now.
Great movement by Roger Kish right here. This guy's making Jay feel real good, Roger Kish. You notice moving his hands. I talked earlier about Mike Thorn putting his hands in one spot and just leaving them there. And if you just watch Roger's last takedown, his hands were moving, boom, and then a shot. And I think that's something that some of the younger guys can learn from, and that's something that Jake talked about in the early opening, is that some of these older guys can teach these young guys what it takes to win a national title.
Kish last year was, of course, Big Ten champion.
Here, watch his hand, watch his footwork, moving his hands, pops on the elbow, and then gets to the leg and gets the takedown.
Well, when you go all the way to the finals in the NCAAs and you lose there, it says something about where you're at, and that was as a sophomore.
Only one thing will be a better season for Roger, obviously in place, but in his mind, nothing less than first place is going to be satisfactory for him this season.
And an opportunity to give Minnesota a commanding lead.
Talking to Marty Morgan earlier in the year, he really thought that Roger would increase in his strength this season. He's a little bit bigger. He said he's got a little bit more power, and he feels like that might be the difference for him this year to get over that hump and win that first national title for himself and for the University of Minnesota. If you've noticed early, he's been in 2 shots fighting Jensen's hips and was able to power up through his leg and his hips, and that's probably due to the strength training and the additional power that he's put on over the spring and summer.
Well, Minnesota sitting in the catbird seat now with the 3 matches remaining, including this one, with really no ranked wrestlers for the Cowboys, although Jared Rosholt has has been ranked 9th and 10th in various ratings, but for the most part, Minnesota is sitting in a pretty good position as we head into these 3 final matches.
I think Oklahoma State is feeling not real good right now about winning this dual meet. The coaching staff doesn't seem to look very happy. When you're at a wrestling match, you get to see the expression of the coaching staff, and they don't seem very happy right now with their performance so far. And right now, Roger Kish is in control of this match. He's up 4-2, but it's been dominating so far. I think the coaches from the University of Minnesota would like to see him start to separate on the scoreboard here.
And there's a point on an escape for Oklahoma State's Jensen.
On a single. Trying to build up. Notice Roger using power with his hips. Got his hands locked. If he can get off the side, he's going to score 2. He's going to try and keep his hands locked. He's in what we call a near side cradle. He's got a chance for back points, but Jensen too strong, couldn't turn him over.
He did pick up 2 to take a 6-3 lead.
Close to 1 minute riding time, currently at 59 seconds of riding time.
1 point escape.
Just slowly starting to peck away, trying to build a lead. Kish moving his hands, moving his opponent, keeping him off his head. There's that chuck again. He kind of pulls on the head and then kind of pops the elbow and tries to attack a single. Worked once. Jensen kind of made an adjustment there in that situation.
Kish, a 4-time state champion in the state of Michigan in high school. 4-time All-American in high school.
Both of these teams got very accomplished high school wrestlers wrestling for them. All standout prep athletes, and now on to college, wrestling at the highest level. These were the best high school wrestlers in the country, now wrestling for the best 2 teams in the nation.
And Kish, by the way, holding Michigan's state record for career victories with 252, including 223 consecutive wins. I mean, very impressive.
Got Jensen in trouble here, but they're going to say no control. And finally, Oklahoma State gets a call that they like.
John Smith has not been happy with the
Here's what's
officials
got to
for the
happen
most
for
part.
Roger. See this hand that's stuck underneath his body? He needed to get that across over here, and they would have called it too. As long as it was between his legs, they didn't feel like he had established control, and they didn't award any points.
Well, Coach Smith is on his feet again, wandering the near side of the mat. You see him. He's been sitting through most of the last match and a half. Now the officials are trying to sort out some riding time issues here. That's what the delay is.
There's always a great debate in American wrestling, American college wrestling, who's the greatest wrestler of all time. John Smith is obviously one of those people who is mentioned in that category with Gabe. I think right now, if anybody said who's the greatest coach of all time, they would say Dan Gable. But if John continues to win national titles like he's been doing, 4 in a row, chance for 5, he's going to start to challenge the greatest coach of all time in Dan Gable. And people might start saying maybe Smith may be the greatest coach of all time. That's the kind of coaching job that he's done at Oklahoma State. And the sky's the limit for him. He's got obviously another great group of talented young wrestlers, and already ranked #1 in the country, although I think their ranking's in jeopardy tonight. But remember, they've got a couple guys out. Of course, the Gophers got a couple guys out. But he's in position again to win a 5th national title.
15 years at the helm for John Smith. An 88 Oklahoma State grad.
Okay, things getting interesting on the mat. Roger Kish has been warned for an unnecessary roughness violation, going too hard to the face of Jack Jensen. Now the Gopher fans are saying, hey, you just called us, and you're going to call him. Kish, quit showing some power right there. It's getting physical out there. Kish all over Jensen. Oh, man.
Wow.
Uh-oh. Everything's getting pretty rowdy out here. The crowd's on its feet again. This is just domination. This is just being physical. Here's the shot. Pick him up. I'm not going to go through this little scramble. I'm just going to pick you up. I'm going to slam you down. Okay? Now, He's going to turn him loose right away, and right away I'm going to attack you again. Goes for an ankle pick right there. Jensen running for the edge. He pushes out, just push you right out there. Kish real physical there for the last 30 seconds. Let's see if he stays on it.
And he allowed him the escape.
48 seconds to go here in the second period. He leads 11-6, trying to work for a major. Another shot to the face by Jensen. Another shot by Kish, trying to work up through those hips. Oh, wow!
Another two.
Footwork. How about the footwork from Roger Kish? Just playing the edge somehow. Watch his feet. Watch these feet on the edge here. He's going to just barely get him in right here on the edge. He keeps both feet down. He's got to put that one back in. He gets the score. What a job. Scores the takedown, building the lead.
It's called using the sideline, and he's done it well. Roger Kish now leading 13-6 in nearly a minute of riding time to boot.
That extra power that the coaches talked about earlier is really showing here. Being able to power up through Jensen's hips, being able to attack the legs and just come up right through his hips. Really, really dominating power for Roger Kish right now. Still trying to be on attack. Jensen's first counter attack. Another shot. Look at the movement from Roger Kish. Jensen trying to create a scramble here. Boy, you don't see this kind of action at 184 very often. Kish, but Jensen avoids points at the end of that period. Great job by him.
In a very entertaining 184-pound match, Roger Kish leading 13-7. Minnesota leading the match overall 15-12.
Boy, I was really impressed with Roger Kish there. Great action.
We'll see more from the U right after this important message. Chow indeed. The Gophers leading Okie State 18-12 with 2 matches remaining. 197 pounds. It'll be Yura Malamura, 3-1 on the year against Jared Shelton. And then we'll see Cole Konrad, what everybody's been waiting to see. First, a look at Yura Malamura. What can we expect here? This is a matchup between a couple of non-ranked opponents.
Both guys trying to establish themselves as Division I wrestlers, trying to work their way into the rankings. Both coming from a junior college, and actually these two guys have some history. They wrestled 2 years ago in the 2005 NCAA Junior College National Championship. Yuri won that match. Shelton went on to Oklahoma State the following year. Yuri went on and won another junior college national title and came to the U this year. So Shelton's got 1 year at Oklahoma State, but they have some history. They have met each other before. Yuri winning the only match that they wrestled in that national championship. So we'll see if Shelton's experience at the Oklahoma State for the year has separated him from Yuri and can get him the win today.
Malamura was a national champion in junior college at 197 pounds, sat out last year, redshirted at Highland Community College in Washington, then came to the U of M this year.
Yuri showing good strength there on this shot. Trying to keep the legs split. He wants to keep between the legs, and he lost the leg there. Shelton getting his hips back. Both wrestlers seem to have good power for the weight class. Yuri doesn't want to get that ankle taken. He give up an easy go behind here by Shelton.
A major win for Malamura in his last match in Northern Colorado. His only loss was to number 6, Chris Weidman of Hofstra. So off to a great start here in his U of M career.
That was a tough loss for him. That it was a situation where he lost 11-8, and it was a major factor in the outcome of the match, of course. And it was a match he thought he could get, the coaches thought he could get, and they missed on that opportunity. So he's really trying to get himself back on track. He's done that with 3 wins in a row in dual meets, and now trying to get a win here over Jared Shelton. There's that wizard position we talked about earlier with Ness. You saw Roger Kish score from it. Uh-oh! Yuri in trouble. Shelton, you showing good power, just powering him over with that whizzer, and now getting a takedown and near fall points on Yuri. Yuri's got to be careful here. He's got to be real careful. He's in a lot of trouble. He's in a position where he could get pinned.
Well, this could be huge for Oklahoma State, trailing 18-12. If they were to get a pin here.
Yuri's got to find a way to get back over Yuri's shoulders if he's going to get a fall. He's not going to be able to pin him from this position. This is not the way Yuri wanted to start this match. And once again, that whizzer position from the Oklahoma State Cowboys becomes effective for them, and they score 5.
So a tough start for Yuri Malamura. With just 10 seconds remaining in the first period. Now trailing 5-0. A good look at Jay Robinson.
This is not the way they wanted this match to start out with. Yuri was the aggressive wrestler, took 2 good offensive shots on the legs, but ended up getting tossed on his back for 5. And now it doesn't look like he's going to get escape, and he ends the first period down 5-0.
After 1 period, Oklahoma
So a
State
5-0 lead for Jared Shelton, the sophomore.
Here's that whizzer position right there. You can see it, his arm trapped over his back. Shelton just elevates him over and then holds him, showing good power of just being able to elevate his body with one leg.
Malamura starting on top here.
Yuri's going to use a leg ride, much like the Oklahoma State wrestlers have used earlier today. Yuri's in trouble. He's going to want to get that top leg. He's in a little bit of trouble here. Got to get that top leg in or he's going to get slipped off. See his top leg trying to fish for the hip, but he can't quite get it. Shelton reaching for the head. Shelton made a mistake there. He should have tried to keep Yuri on his hip. Got greedy, went for the head, and ended up losing the reversal. Yuri taking the knee against the joint a little bit there. Wrenching on that backside ankle. Official thinks they're going nowhere. Calls a stalemate. Stalemate's a position in wrestling where neither wrestler can improve their position, so they call a stalemate and restart them.
As I mentioned a little bit earlier, Shelton is no stranger to national championships. He was a runner-up at the junior college national championships in his junior college career.
Both these guys took a little bit of different route from some of the other wrestlers. They spent some time in junior college trying to establish themselves, and then ended up on 2 of the top programs in the country. That's the dream of any junior college wrestler out there. And the hopes for those kids who end up and start their careers in college and junior college can say, hey, here's 2 guys who have made it. And so they become role models for a lot of kids who come out of high school, maybe aren't ready for the Division 1, 2, 3, and they do a couple years of junior college, and look at where you might end up, wrestling for 2 of the top programs in the country.
And you have to think that they went into that thinking that too, that we can use this. Some of these guys you would think use it as development. Others have bigger goals.
Absolutely, absolutely. Some guys aren't ready with the academic portion of it. Maybe some of them aren't ready physically. Some of them may have started wrestling late in their career. Now Yuri's being warned, just like with Oklahoma State. It's his responsibility to take the man back to the mat. He didn't do it. He spent too much time here. Now he gets warned for stalling, which was a point. Which was just his first warning, excuse me. And then Shelton got his escape, and now, no, it was his second warning.
It was his second warning, so it is now 7-0.
7-0. Yuri's trying to force action now. He's down by 7.
So a somewhat unexpected big deficit here for Yuri as he heads into this final period.
Yuri's going to have to come up with some heroics here if he's going to get back in this match. At this point, he's got a couple more chances to try a couple things to get some points, but also maybe looking at, okay, I got to avoid a major here.
Avoid the major at this point.
He does have Cole Konrad on behind him.
Yeah, not a bad guy to have batting behind him.
Yeah. Doesn't want to be in this position where his legs are splitting, and he certainly doesn't want to be giving up back points again. He's on his back. Boy, Shelton's really in control of this match. He's been sturdy in a lot of positions. Scoring near fall. He's going to increase his lead.
I think Jay Robinson is surprised by this.
I think surprise may not be the word, but maybe a little bit disappointed in that the way the match and the outcome is going to be. But you know, surprise. You've been doing it for as long as he has. He doesn't get surprised too much. He sees good performances and bad performances and reacts to them and learns from them. And that's what good coaches do.
So a 9-0 lead, under a minute to go in the match. Jared Shelton has been in control throughout. This really has never been Malamura's match.
Yeah. Right off the bat in the first period, Shelton got the takedown and the near fall points, and has not looked back since then. Yuri trying to get a point here, trying to put a point on the board, trying to clear his leg. His opening match here at the Pavilion, born in Estonia, Russia, probably not the way he wanted to start his career at home. Getting beat and looking like he's going to lose a major decision here. Chance for points for Yuri. Finish it, there it is! Now he scored.
Well, he's on the board. Now if he can get the riding time down, he has an opportunity to avoid the major. And it looks like he will.
He's done that, a good finish for Yuri. Avoids a major decision, saves a team point, scores last in the match. He's got some things he can build on.
So Malamura defeated by Jared Shelton, but
here he is right here. He steps through. It looked like he might have been in a situation where he might have been able to score some near fall points after getting that takedown, but ran out of time.
Well, it's time now for the heavyweights. Cole Konrad, 4-0 on the year, ranked #1 in the nation, defending national champion. A good look at Cole right there. What is it about the heavyweights that everybody likes to see these guys?
They're just big. Everybody loves two big guys going at it. You know, they tend sometimes to not be the most action-packed matches, but yet they still bring a lot of energy and a lot of support from the fans.
So this is it. Minnesota's lead trimmed to 18-15. Cole Konrad, the senior from Freedom, Wisconsin, against Jared Rosholt, just a freshman. Boy, heck of a spot to be in if you're a freshman.
Jared Rosholt, of course, his brother, national champion last year and a couple-time national champion wrestling at 197. Graduated last year. Jared's kind of taken over. He's wrestling at the heavyweight class. Now, Jared was a 215-pounder in high school. He only weighs about 240 pounds. Cole weighs every bit of 285. So he's given Cole about 45 pounds out here. So he's got to be very strategic. And when I talked to Coach Smith, he talked about learning what he can and can't do at the heavyweight weight class. And right now, Jared's out there, and he's got one advantage on Cole. He's probably a little bit more mobile than Cole, and Cole's got a little bit more power and strength. So you're going to see Cole try and wear on his head, make Rosholt carry his weight for most of the match, and that'll pay dividends later in the match.
Well, Jared Rosholt hoping to do what the previous Jared just did. Jared Shelton, a big win over Malamura. But he's going to need a major upset here for Minnesota to not defeat #1 Oklahoma State. Well, you can see how quick he bounced back up. There is some quickness there.
He's a very athletic young man, and he's talking to Coach Smith. Coach Smith felt he had come the furthest of the guys who were new in the lineup. They have 6 new wrestlers in the lineup, and he thought Rosholt was closest to being ready for big-time competition. And he started off the season 6-2. You could see Cole with the power there. There's foot in. You just need one. You just need 1 foot in college wrestling, and he did Cole's famous. Look at
Bob Hughes, mornings on
to break the win record. Talked about being the Hodge Trophy winner. He's got nothing but high aspirations for himself. Still really committing himself to sport. Didn't say, oh, I won a national title, so I can kind of, you know, lay back. He increased his training. He's going harder. He wants to be the most dominant heavyweight that he can be, or maybe the most dominant. He wants to be recognized as, hey, I'm one of those best heavyweights of all time.
45 wins in a row. He was 41-0 last year, 4-0 thus far this year. Cole Konrad looking to finish off a stellar career here at the University of Minnesota with maybe another national championship.
Here's the takedown again. Cole just with the reach single, tries to come up with the underhook. Jarrett's kind of stops wrestling on the edge, thinking, hey, and you know what? His foot did go out. You watch the replay again. John Smith may have something there.
That was an angle we didn't see before.
Okay, let's see how Jarrett can do in the top position. He's riding hard, trying to keep Cole off balance. Cole working his way, trying to work his way to his feet. Jarrett showing some good power there to keep him down.
You really see Cole Konrad just trying to overpower him by standing up.
Yep. Cole trying to build position, build a base. Trying to get to his feet again. I'm impressed with Jarrett here. Did a nice job stopping moves.
Look at Cole Konrad's career record. He's lost just 13 times. You see the tied for 4th all time in his career with pins with 40. He's registered 3 already this year.
Cole doesn't want to be in the down position here any more than he has to be, and I think right now it's going to be important for him to build and get an escape as quickly as he possibly can. Trying to build up. Jarrett's still trying to hang on here. Rosholt trying to hang on, and there it is. Konrad up for 1. Took his time a little bit there that second time. I think he thought it was going to be easier than in that first start. Took his time, got hand control, worked his way up, and did a better job the second time in the down position.
So it's a 3-0 lead. We are in the second period. Minnesota leading the match 18-15. They've got their ace in the hole in this final match.
Both guys are getting real slippery right now. Sweating profusely. This is a very demanding sport, but when you're sweating that much, you become slippery. And when you become slippery, you get harder to grab hold of, and it's much harder for either wrestler to score. It's almost, you could almost wish that they could towel off so that they could grab, because it's just tough to grab hold of a guy because they're so wet, they're so slippery, and it's tough to hang onto a leg or hang onto an arm. You just slide off everything.
3-0.
2 minutes of action remaining here from the pavilion.
Cole in control of this match on an early takedown, but since then it's been pretty even.
Well, Rosholt has basically done what he had to do to stay in the match.
Yes. This is a big test for Jared right now. Can he get away? He's up. Not going to get
the point. No.
Not going to get points here. Almost goes all the way to the stands.
Knocked one of the ropes off.
This is 2 guys coming at you. If you're the fans in this area right here,
look out.
You got real concern for a moment.
Look at that guy.
Because there's about 400 pounds coming at you.
Wow. Get out of the way.
Building power. Cole trying to keep his weight on him. I tell you what, Jared Rosholt did a nice job there coming up and getting away. This is a 1 takedown match right here. Jared's got it where he needed to get it. If I can get 1 score, I can steal the match from the #1 ranked guy in the country.
Well, it comes down to this. Just over a minute to go.
Does Rosholt have the power to attack a leg on a Cole Konrad? Does he have the power to actually score a point on a guy like Konrad?
At what point does he take a chance and go for it?
I think as it gets, in this situation, he's going to wait down to about 30 seconds, and then he's going to take one big hard shot and see if he can score it. Just fake there, 57 seconds. He checked the clock. Okay, I've got about 30. He's got his mental clock going. He's got one big blast in him.
Well, you got to figure you got to take a chance.
Yeah,
you're the underdog.
He's going to take a chance here. He's going to take a chance.
Your team is down, and you're the underdog. And you're losing.
If he doesn't take a chance, he's going to get an earful from Coach Smith. I can guarantee you that. If he just stands here and is satisfied going 3-1. Because basically that's what he would do. Now 30 seconds left to go. Cole trying to lock up there.
Now, what is Cole Konrad thinking at this point?
Well, I mean, at this point, he's in control of the match. He doesn't have to do much. I mean, he doesn't want to jeopardize a loss for the Gophers. So all I got to do is just stay in good position. Rosholt fakes a single again. No real attempt. 15 seconds.
What's he waiting for? He's got 9 seconds to do something, and it looks like Cole Konrad is going to hold him off.
I would say right now that's just pure. No, he just didn't have confidence in anything that he had.
Well, he's a freshman. He learned a lesson from the defending national champion, Cole Konrad. The senior leads Minnesota to victory. So Minnesota defeats the #1 team of the nation, the Golden Gophers, over Oklahoma State, 21-15. We'll wrap it up for you when we come back. You're watching Gopher Wrestling on FSN North. Back after this. Back here at the Pavilion on the campus of the University of Minnesota, where the 3rd-ranked Gophers have upended Oklahoma State 21-15. And they also break that home losing streak when these two teams meet. It finally comes to an end.
Yes. Gophers came out, really performed well. Pretty much up and down the lineup. There's a couple question marks at a couple of weights. That 174 match became a very pivotal match, just like we talked about at the beginning of the match. We didn't know which way it was going to go. Dretsch gets the job done for the Gophers and puts them in a commanding lead. Kish follows it with the big win. Just misses a major decision. The 197 match was one that was kind of up in the air at the beginning of the match. Shelton from Oklahoma State got the job done there, and then Cole Konrad, of course, finishes the dual meet and seals the victory for the Gophers. And a big upset. Here's the Gophers, lose right away. They lose to #5 Hofstra. Oklahoma State becomes #1, and then they all of a sudden get beat by the Gophers. So what's the ranking now? Who's #1?
Exactly.
We'll have to wait and see.
If you had a vote.
Well, I think you got to look at, okay, both teams had 2 guys out, and how much would those 2 wrestlers have impacted the match? Manny Rivera won at 141. They were missing Nathan Morgan, who's currently ranked #4 in the nation. Could that match have been pivotal? Could Morgan have beaten Rivera? Possibly. But then on the other side, the Gophers are missing CP at 157, where they got beat by newly McSpadden, who's an unranked wrestler. So having the guys out may not make much of a difference at this point. I think right now you go with the team that won the dual meet. As of right now, that's the Gophers. They should be back to #1.
You heard it here first. Gophers should be #1. Minnesota wins this one 21-15. For Will Short and the entire FSN North crew, I'm Wally Langfellow. It's a final here at the Pavilion. Minnesota over Oklahoma State. You've been watching Gopher Wrestling on FSN North. Have a good night, everybody.